Equity in education, how missing the mark will cost us all. Greetings, everyone. My name is LaShawn Jenkins, and I'm the proud assistant principal at Tarboro High School. This is my 21st year in the district, and I am pleased to serve every single day. Today, I want to speak to you, I want to educate you, but most of all, I want to challenge you. In the field of economics, there is a term that is commonly referred to as opportunity cost. One definition defines opportunity cost as this: the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. So if we could translate this into layman's terms, so to speak, it just simply means what it costs us to make one decision over another. I want to pose this question to every educator, every stakeholder, or school leader who may view this TEDGE talk. And my question is, truly, what will it cost us not to choose an equitable approach to education? What will it cost us not to choose an equitable approach to education? In order to even come close to answering that, we must first ask ourselves, what exactly is equity? And what does it look like in education? I'm glad you asked. Equity in education is the process of reforming practices, policies, and procedures at the school and district levels to support academic fairness and inclusion, and to ensure that every child has the resources, the teachers, the interventions, and supports that they need to be successful. Think about the life of a child from birth. That child, from the moment that they are born, are birthed into conditions and situations that is beyond their control. I want to be real clear today about some of those factors that can truly dictate the outcomes of that child. And in a lot of cases, they can truly alter that child's life trajectory. Let us examine some of those factors, but let us look very closely to one in particular. Let's talk about socioeconomics. The research reveals that children born into impoverished situations and conditions, they hear 50% less spoken words as they enter kindergarten. There is an immediate unlevel playing field, which we know is out of that child's control. This metamorphosizes into a ripple effect of things. It creates language gaps, fluency issues, which will later strongly impact that child's literacy. And we all know that this leads to achievement gaps. Once we as educators and leaders recognize the need, I believe that we have a moral, an educational, and a legal obligation to address the need of this child. When we don't grant that child access to the resources, the instruction, or the individualized learning interventions that that particular child needs, it becomes an inequity in education. And from this point, that child's entire life trajectory begins to unravel in a completely different way. So what is the opportunity cost when we do not address equity in education? The data reveals to us that the longer that a child's educational needs aren't met, those achievement gaps tend to widen, and when unaddressed, they lead to higher levels of retention. So let me quickly share with you the economic, the fiscal, and the geopolitical cost to us all when we don't address equity in education. For example, in some rural communities, in some, not all, almost 30 to 40% of children drop out of school once they are retained or once they have to repeat a grade at least once. That research also reveals that dropout rates are a key indicator to criminal activity within our penal system. Nearly 80% of all prisoners are high school dropouts or recipients of the General Educational Development Credential, which we commonly refer to as a GED. And more than half of the inmates who achieve the GED, they earned that while incarcerated. Domestically, 42% of all homeless population at some point of their lives dropped out of school. Dropouts between the age of 18 and 24 are 3 and 4 times more likely to live in poverty, according to the Department of Education, as opposed to a college graduate. Of course, in an ideal world, we would like to think that the first model of equity in education would begin in the homes. Before kids even step foot onto school campuses, ideally, it would be great if their first model of equity happened in their home. But the duality of this and the reality of that notion is in some instances it may happen and in some it may not. We have no influence over the children and their ability levels that we receive in our schools, but we do have the power and the influence over what we send back into society away from our schools. We are obligated to educate, to nurture, to develop, to enhance, to serve, and most of all, to love all children who walk into our schools and into our classrooms. And when we don't do this, I believe that this is criminal activity. And I believe that our children are forced to serve an incarcerated life sentence of cyclical poverty and hardships that come along with that. When we miss the mark, it will surely come with a cost that none of us can truly afford to pay. Remember that term opportunity cost that I spoke of earlier? What will it cost us to seize this moment and the opportunities that we have in this moment for kids right here and right now? To provide an equitable education for every child, regardless of their address, regardless of their race, regardless of their area code or socioeconomical status. I know it's a heavy lift and it comes with a heavy price tag, but our effort towards this doesn't cost us a thing. In closing, look at this picture. We cannot control the height of the children. That is out of our control. But we can build capacity to assist that child in their ability to see over the fence. But it doesn't end there. We together have the power to dismantle the fence. Thank you.